It starts with a dog's bark. I flinch and look up from my work. Smears of bright oil paint on the linen canvas I stretch myself. I'm busy with a nude, but I'm best at portraits. The studio smells of turpentine and hot wax. The fumes may cause others' noses to tingle, but I'm most at home with this piney petrol smell. Younger artists say that terps isn't good for your lungs. They might be right, but I'm an old dog, and there's a limit to how many new tricks I'm willing to learn. I hear the bark again, as if the hound has read my thoughts and agrees. This makes me feel restless. I toss my brush into the wide-mouthed jar of cobalt violet solvent. An old mayonnaise jar, perhaps, or gherkins with dill, and stand up, wiping paint off my fingers and palms with the pungent cloth I keep nearby. I leave my apron on. I'm most comfortable in my apron, and I plan to come right back to continue my work. But that bark, there's something odd in that bark. I kick the bottom of the studio door to open it. It's an old, swollen door, and it has a well-worn brass doorknob which I love to touch. The glass panels are clear but textured, so when someone stands behind it, his face is transformed into a pointillist painting. One day, my kick will dislodge a pane of glass, and it will no doubt shatter or fall and stab one or both of my perennially bare feet. The scuffed parquet floor is cool under my soles. Burnt sienna, Indian red, Naples yellow. The air in the passage is always chilled, dark and stagnant compared to my studio, which is bleached by sunlight and fresh air. I'm used to the corridor's dimness, and it does not bother me on a normal day. On the contrary, it makes for a welcome relief after the hours of painting in the bright light. But today is not a normal day. The passage leads to the kitchen and the sitting room. To the left is the guest toilet. I've lived here for 40 years. I could draw a map for you, blindfolded and sitting on a horse. The dog yaps again, and I freeze. Where is the little tyrant? I force myself to keep going, despite the sense of foreboding I feel boiling in my intestines. I step into the kitchen and see him, a grey Pomeranian so fluffy you'd think I put him in the tumble dryer. I don't. He stares at me with his shiny black marbles. His fur is an electric shock. A slight pant, a salmon-pink tongue. Who is this creature? Who are you? I say to the dog. He looks exactly like Gatsby, but he's not. I should know. I've had Gatsby for 16 years, and a man knows his dog. I could pick Gatsby out from a lineup 100 meters away. I know my Gatsby. Yes, I say. Who are you? Where did you come from? The dog yaps and keeps staring at me. I stare back. Did Gatsby somehow smuggle this dog in from the park so that he'd have someone to play with? I haven't been very good at replacing his toys recently. Perhaps he was bored. Gatsby? I call. The dog in front of me barks and wags his tail. Gatsby? I amble around the house, looking in all his favourite lounging places. The bed in the laundry room, the footrest in the lounge, the old Viridian beanbag near the television in my bedroom. The little dog follows me from room to room. Gatsby, I call again and whistle. Here, boy. Here, boy. Come here, boy. The other dog barks and jumps up onto his back legs. That's a Gatsby trick. I wonder if Gatsby taught him how to do that. I fetch a bone-shaped dog biscuit from the tin in the kitchen and whistle my special Gatsby whistle, but still no sign of my little grey Pom. I wonder if someone is playing a trick on me. If I had a son or a brother, perhaps they would have stumbled upon a dog that looked to them exactly like Gatsby and decided to play a trick on me. The imposter walks on his hind legs again, angling for the treat he knows I have in my hand. I can't give it to him. Gatsby would see that as a betrayal. I put the biscuit back into the tin and dust the meat-scented crumbs from my hands. The dog bleats a soft whine and scurries over to Gatsby's bed, turning around in a circle till he finds the right place to lie, then closes his eyes and pretends to sleep. I switch on the kettle and scratch for an unchipped mug in the cupboard. I should really get rid of the broken ones, but I have never been good at throwing things away. When I can't find a flawless mug, I impatiently grab the first one in my line of vision. A spiderweb crack runs from the handle to the base. It's too small, and the lip is not my favorite shape, but it will do. I abandon the rushing, steaming kettle and reach instead for my brandy. It would be a little early to drink on a normal day, but today is not a normal day. I slush amber liquid into the mug and leave the bottle on the counter uncapped. I taste caramel and peaches, and the warmth coats the cold sense of dread in my heart. I drink it down and pour myself another one, which I plan to take back to the studio with me. But then I see the canine imposter feigning a nap on Gatsby's bed, and I am filled with a deep and stark feeling that not even the brandy can appease. In my bathroom, I approach the fully stocked medicine cabinet and close the mirrored door. I gasp and drop my mug, and it smashes all over the varnished concrete floor. There, staring back at me, is a complete stranger, wearing my clothes and my paint-splattered apron. My thoughts spin in my head, forming a whirlpool, a vacuum, a black hole. The man, himself shocked, stares back at me with mad voltaic eyes. I know better than to ask who are you this time, so I stand there, among the sharp ceramic shards, and wait. Perhaps he will talk first. I wait and wait, never breaking eye contact with the strange, slipstream man. At last, I cannot stand it anymore. "What are you doing in my bathroom?" I ask. "What are you doing in my mirror?" The man moves his lips as if he's parroting me, but no sound comes out. The cheek of him! He's pretending to be my reflection. Does he not know that I would know the difference between my own face and a stranger's? I start to get angry, really angry at what is happening. First, they take my dog. Then, they put a rogue in the mirror. I get so furious that I want to smash the glass. I want to pull the trickster out and wring his neck. "Listen," I say to him, "I've had just about enough of this." The man's eyes glint and burn into mine like hot diamonds. It takes my breath away and I step back. A spoke of pain shears its way through the bottom of my foot and I cry out. The man looks sorry, so my heart softens against him. He can't be that bad if he has that reaction when somebody hurts himself. No, he probably has a great deal of empathy. And, let me tell you, empathy is hard to come by these days. Perhaps we'll talk and become friends. Perhaps he'll be here for me every day, and I'll greet him every morning while I bungle through my morning toiletry routine. Perhaps we just started out on the wrong foot, I think, my own foot glowing with pain as it dyes the floor Perillian red. So I start to talk to him, the man in my medicine cabinet mirror, and I'm pleased when his face relaxes, and he angles his head to better hear my stories. He listens for a very long time, until I get faint from hunger, so I stop for a moment and ask him to wait. I run downstairs, cochineal footprints, and grab a plate of food from the fridge and a fork. On second thoughts, I get 2 sets of cutlery, in case the man is hungry too. When the light in the bathroom begins to turn grey and my throat is sore from talking, I hear a click and a shuffle from downstairs. "I'm up here!" I yell. I hear her steady footsteps as she climbs the stairs, and I turn to greet her, but her face turns the colour of an ivory piano key. Her handbag drops to the carpet, and I wonder how many things are broken every day by people who get little shocks like these, like white currants in your fingers. "I know what you're thinking," I say. She's also frightened by the phony in the mirror, but I'm going to tell her he's okay. He's actually quite nice when you get to know him. But before I have time to say anything, she cuts me off with a voice like a tightrope. "Richard?" she says. "What has happened?" I frown and look down, and I see that the bathroom floor is painted red with blood. "I cut my foot," I say. Laurie rushes towards me, but hesitates at the blackened edge of the puddle, a darkening gradient of crimson to umber. "Come to me," she says. "Can you walk?" I bend my knee and pull the injured foot up to get a better look at it. Laurie gasps. A ceramic dagger juts out of the delicate sole skin like a shark's fin. I get a good grip on it and yank it out, and Laurie yells as more blood spurts out. The wound is deep and wide like a canyon, and it makes me think of men who get stuck in canyons and have to cut their limbs off to escape. "Do you think I'll lose my leg?" I ask Laurie, who looks like she's about to faint. "No," she says, shaking her head, blinking away her lightheadedness. "You're not going to lose your leg." We stumble down the stairs together, and I try not to lean on Laurie too much. She's a petite woman, and I've always tried to protect her from my inelegant, bulky frame. "More like a rugby player than an artist," my father used to say, but he didn't actually mind that I took to the arts more than the field. Gatsby senses the excitement and starts barking, and rushes over to us as we reach the bottom of the stairs. I'm so relieved that he's back, and I'm about to say so when I see the dog and realize it's not Gatsby at all, but the little hoaxer with the puffed-out ash-colored fur. He has learnt to bark like Gatsby, which fills me with a virulent panic that splashes orange into my veins. It makes me think of orpiment, the arsenic-rich volcanic mineral used as a pigment for centuries, despite its noxious malice. Heat transforms it from a mellow yellow to a vivid, glowing orange, oxygen on a hot coal, and that is how my insides feel. Laurie leads me to my chair and pulls up the footstool, the leather one, ball and claw, and throws a ragged towel over it, then places my foot gently on top. Her cool fingers are balm for my throbbing soul, and I feel so much gratitude and fondness for her in that moment. But then, the horrible hound yaps and the illusion is shattered. I look at the woman fussing with the first aid kit, tearing plasters and uncapping foul-smelling green antiseptic, and I realize that it's not Laurie at all. The woman looks like my wife, and is wearing my wife's clothing, but it's certainly not Laurie. The fraudsters would get away with this kind of thing, but they didn't count on my gut, because, emotionally speaking, the Laurie kneeling at my feet is like a black and white photocopy. She's got all the right bits in the right places, but her essence is missing, her core. How do you explain that to someone who has never had to deal with this kind of thing? They've taken Laurie and Gatsby and left me with these animated but empty shells. Where is Laurie? What do I do? Maybe if I grab a knife from the kitchen and hold it against her neck, she'll tell me where my real wife is. The coal burns and burns. "Did you take your pills today?" the clone asks. "If you're not feeling very well, it might be because you forgot to take your pills." I think of the brimming medicine cabinet lined with little bottles of tablets in varying tints of blue, cyan, sky, indigo, cobalt, sapphire. Did I take my pills this morning? I can't remember. I think I must take my pills to feel better. But then a different thought strikes me like a bolt of fiery lightning. What if the pills are made by the imposters? What if they are drugging me so that I don't notice when they take everyone away from me and replace them with soulless replicas? In fact, isn't that why I didn't take them this morning? I look at Gatsby, who is staring at me again with his shiny black marbles and quivering fur. I look at Laurie, who frowns as she wraps my foot in a clean white bandage. A hot shiver spikes my spine. I make a mental note to never take the pills again. The end.